a quick story about a young Coach Meyer. He would drive 7 hours to hear Tom Osborne speak for about 15 minutes and then drive all the way back through the night and be ready for the next day of practice. But that was his hunger, and that was such a part of the culture that we had, was a hunger for improvement, to be better, to find the next steps, no matter what it took.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, it's a very special occasion because, James, we have a Thriver, a wonderful woman who reached out to us, I believe, from a city named Beaver. Is this correct?
Yes, sir. Beaver, Pennsylvania.
And what is her name?
Deborah.
Deborah. Okay, so this show goes out to Deborah from Pennsylvania. What we're talking about on today's show is how to grow a medical spa. That's what she, or a spa, maybe a non-medical spa, James? Or provide a little clarity here.
Sure. She's got a salon, and I believe it's a non-medical spa.
So a non-medical spa. Okay, and you said it's Beaver. What's the name of the city?
Beaver, Pennsylvania.
Beaver, Pennsylvania. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google. For anybody out there listening to today's show, just do a search for Beaver, Pennsylvania. And then we're going to type in Beaver, Pennsylvania spa. So everyone can do a Google search there, folks. Some of the folks who are co-hosting today's show will be in the studio where they can look that up as well. But we're going to search here for Beaver, Pennsylvania spa. And when we do that, we're going to see 3 different spa companies that come up in the search results, okay? So we see European Flair, we see Enhanced Features, we see Lovey Wellness, I believe it is. Then we scroll down, we see European Flair, then we see Yelp, then we see, and you see all these companies that come up top in the search results. And so if you're going to grow a spa, we want to establish a 3-legged marketing stool. Now, James, why do we want to have a 3-legged marketing stool and not a 14-leg marketing stool?
Well, you don't want too many legs on the stool. Otherwise, you just get lost in the complexity of it all.
Okay, so Meg Roll, I know you have a vast knowledge of stools.
Yes.
Talk to me. Why do stools typically have at least 3 legs?
It keeps it balanced.
Okay, now what would happen, though, Anthony, if you had a 1-legged stool?
It would totally go down.
Exactly, right? So you'd have like a monopod or something. Mm-hmm. So when you're growing your business, you've got to have a 3-legged marketing stool. Three ways that you can sustainably get customers that's not related to word of mouth. Now, Anthony, if I'm correct, you worked in Branson at one point?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the listeners, what were you doing? Were you selling timeshares in Branson?
Yes, sir. I was selling timeshares.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I used to sell, I did back in the day. I worked at Target, Applebee's, DirecTV. Yeah. But when you're doing timeshares, what's the method to go get customers in Branson?
The method is to go through a call center and call them so that they can get a simple package to come for a 3-day weekend so that they can have a great time.
So let me make sure I understand this, because this is not what we're going to do for the spa business. But I want people to understand what happens if you don't have a 3-legged marketing stool. Okay. You're calling randos out of the phone book and inviting them to Branson? Or where are you getting this list from?
The list is from individuals who have come before or they have recommended family members.
Okay, so you're calling people.
Yes.
And call me. Make that call right now. let's role play and pretend that you're calling me out of the blue to get me to come to Branson.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, this is Clay.
Hey, Clay, this is Anthony with Branson's Nantucket. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Who are you?
Anthony with Branson's Nantucket.
Okay. How can I help you?
Oh, so I was calling because I seen that your family member, your sister, I believe, left you as a referral the last time that they came to Branson. I was wanting to see if you and your family were interested to come check out what it is that we have to provide for you.
And what would they say right there typically? What kind of responses would you get at that point?
Some would typically be like, oh, well, I have been looking to, take my family out. That sounds nice to go on a good weekend.
What kind of objections did you get typically?
We don't have the time, and because it was COVID around that time, some individuals didn't feel safe being around.
Did
so many
anybody
people.
hang up on you?
No.
So people did not hang up on you?
No, they did not.
But so if you made 100 calls, how many appointments could you book?
On a good day, I could book 20 out of 100 calls.
And did you get paid per appointment you booked, or how did you get compensated?
You got compensated based off of what you booked, and then also if you were able to upcharge them with better services like hotels and then activities.
But you were cold calling all day?
Yes, sir.
You're in a call center?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you don't have a three-legged marketing stool, you have to do what we call outbound marketing.
Okay.
Outbound marketing. And outbound marketing is where you are out there reaching out to people, and they're not reaching out to you. You're reaching out to them. That's a different world. James, my understanding is you used to sell solar panels. Is this correct?
It is correct.
So as you're telling this story, I want Meg to put in her mind a story she could share about maybe a job you've had to have. Maybe you haven't had one, but a job you've had to have where you are cold calling, door-to-dooring, doing something that sucks, and you're not selling vacuums. So James, going back to you, what were you doing with the solar company? How did you generate leads?
Well, we would go door to door. We would also buy leads online, and then we would also buy lists of homeowners and then put them through like an auto dialer and just dial all day long.
So you went door to door?
I did.
In New Jersey?
I did, and Florida for insurance adjusting too.
What kind of response did you get? If you went door to door all day, how many people would actually open the door and talk to you?
It's tough. It's real tough there. So it's a very saturated market with door to door. So maybe like 1 out of every 30 people would answer the door, and then most of the times you get the door slammed in your face, which is great.
So now I want to ask you though, was rejection a very real part of your daily existence?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what about you, Branson, cold calling? Was rejection a normal thing for you?
It was to some extent.
Okay. Now when I built my first company, DJConnection.com, I couldn't afford trade shows. Google was non-existent at the time. I couldn't afford a Yellow Page ad, so I went to Dr. Zellner, a mentor of mine. I said, hey, Dr. Z, how would you suggest that I grow my disc jockey company? Now, Dr. Zellner was my wife's boss. He had one of the largest, most successful optometry clinics in America. And he said, well, you need to get 3 jobs. And I go, 3 jobs? And he said, yeah, I mean, you got to have 3 jobs. That's the get-rich-quick tip I'm going to give you. Get 3 jobs. And I'm going, 3 jobs? So I got a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And then when I came home from those jobs, I would cold call through the phone book to convince people to hire my disc jockey service. Now, I'm calling through the phone book. Anthony, why do you think I started calling apartments in the phone book? Apartment complexes. Why do you think I started by calling apartment complexes?
Because there's people living there and they have...
James, why did I start calling in the phone book apartments?
Because it starts with A.
Yeah, exactly. And so my wife is like, why are you calling apartment complexes? What is the statistical probability that the apartment complex is going to hire a disc jockey, let alone a disc jockey often enough to necessitate talking to you? And I'm going, what do you think I should do? She's like, well, you should probably call, country clubs. I'm going, I don't know. I'm just trying to get through the A's. And she's like, stop it. So this is a true story. So I started calling through the C section, the country clubs. Turns out they have weddings, birthdays, that kind of thing. But this is all the kinds of stuff you have to do if you don't have turnkey marketing in place. Now, in part 2 of today's show, I'm going to put on a laser show. We're going to have a blasty blast. We're going to demonstrate clients that have implemented the systems that we're going to teach, and they now have inbound leads. It's almost like fish are jumping in the boat. So it's incredible stuff. Meg, have you ever had a job where you had to do outbound something or door-to-door something? Did that ever happen?
Yes, it was the worst. So I worked in a bank and we did sales, and it was inside a grocery store. So we actually would have to go walk the aisles of the grocery store and stop people while they're shopping. and talk to them about college savings plans or savings accounts, retirement accounts, which typically when somebody just left work and you're at the grocery store, you just want to buy your potatoes and go home, right?
How did that go over?
Not well. It was so humbling, Clay.
Really?
It was so humbling, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember what I used to do. This is not. I don't think anyone should do this, but I'm telling. This is for Deb, who's in Beaver, right?
Right.
Beaver. What state is that?
Pennsylvania.
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 And this is Deb. This is a true story, and this is pre-Christ in my life. I want you to know this is what I did. Okay. So I'm dealing with crazy rejection. Okay, and I'm working at Applebee's, Target, DirecTV. Saturdays is like my one day I'm not working, but I'm working for myself, cold calling. So my wife, she's like, what are you going to do? Because I was just getting so dejected, so rejected. Every call was a no, very few yeses. And I'm like, I've got a plan. I got a system, which is code for I don't have anything figured out. I'm just going to say that. And so what I figured out was I'll go buy a bunch of beer, some heavy beer, like Canadian beer. Okay, this is like the tough beer. Like if you drink one of these, if you're under 100 pounds, it's going to be a tremendous experience for you. Okay, it's pre-Christ. And my thing was every time that I talked to somebody and they agreed to book an appointment, I would down a beer.
Oh, wow.
But before I made calls, I would have a beer too, you know?
Nice.
So by about like noon, I mean, I'm in a unique mindset, you know? and then I'm going, I think I'm becoming an alcoholic. but I'm over the fear of making cold calls, you know? So it was like, it's not what you should do, but it's that sort. I'm trying to communicate this idea when you're going door to door selling solar panels, or you're making cold calls to sell timeshares, or you're meandering through the halls or the aisles at a grocery store, it could feel rough.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of thoughts did you have in your mind, Meg, when you're running into some gentleman who's trying to buy cereal or some lady who's trying to buy vegetables? What kind of thoughts are going through your mind after you've been rejected for the third time that day as you're looking for more people to prey upon and pitch them college savings plans?
Honestly, it's just embarrassing because
Yeah.
most of the people think you're either crazy or hitting on them. And at that point in time, I started really looking into, like, is this what I want to do?
Yeah.
And I ended up having to kind of learn to embrace the awkwardness of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, you know, I remember when I told people that, hey, I don't want to get banned off of YouTube again because I've been banned off of YouTube multiple times, so I'll use code here. But I remember when I discovered, like, very quickly that it's probably not a good idea to lock down every business in America. You know, it's probably not a good idea. And I remember when I had the research ready to go and I was sharing it with family and friends and then on social media, pretty much everybody told me I was crazy. I was putting profits over people. I was reckless. I was out of my mind. So I grabbed Dr. Richard Bartlett, who's the former top medical advisor for the governor of Texas. And I had him come on the show with me. And people were like, you're nuts. And he's a conspiracy theorist. This is the top doctor for the state of Texas, the top advisor for the governor for years. They're like, he's a conspiracy theorist. I had Dr. Zellner on with me. They're like, he's an optometrist. What would he know? And I'm like, okay. Then I brought on Dr. Zelenko. I brought on Dr. Rashid Buttar. May both of them rest in peace. I brought in Dr. Jim Meehan. May he rest in peace. But the level of rejection that I was receiving, it took me back to my cold calling days. I'm going, this feels a lot like that. But we're going to teach you a path on today's show, the moves that you can use. Where it's a turnkey. It's a three-legged marketing stool. And so I'm going to walk you through that, and then we're going to share some testimonials. So here's the three-legged marketing stool. So first off, you got to be top in the Google search results. James, this just in. Why do you have to be top in what the kids are calling the Google?
Well, when someone looks up, you know, a spa in their area,
Yeah.
and you come up on top, you're going to be the person that person calls to go to the spa.
Okay, so the other night, my wife and I were going out to dinner, and there's a wonderful couple we're with. I'll be kind of coded, kind of vague, won't mention who they are. And the lady who's with my wife and I'm sure she doesn't watch our show because she probably has zero interest in business and what we're talking about here. But she says, I like can we go to this restaurant? And I'm going, yeah, we'll go to this restaurant. And she doesn't know how Google reviews work and how the whole thing is. But basically, she was deciding not to go to a really, really, really nice restaurant because it had a handful of bad reviews. Now, as a business owner, I know what she's reading, what sounds like a disgruntled employee just took an afternoon and got everybody he knew to leave bad reviews. Because if you look through the reviews and you sort them by newest, you can see the reason why the company has like a 3.8 is because they've been rolling at a 4.8 or a 4.9 for a long time, and all of a sudden they got 40 bad reviews within 8 hours. And so this lady's like, yeah, I just don't feel like we should go to that restaurant because it has such bad reviews. But let's go to this one. And so it's so important. And people, I mean, do you see this, Meg? People make their decisions based upon what comes up in the search results and based upon the reviews they read?
Absolutely.
I mean, do you find yourself reading reviews? Anthony, do you read reviews?
I don't.
James, do you read reviews?
I don't.
You're sick. Okay, Meg, do you read reviews?
So I read reviews, and I actually will skim through and not just go to the first one. I'll go to the first 3 and read their reviews before I make a decision. That's crazy, but I really do.
And I'm just telling you, again, you're not even in the conversation if you're not topping Google.
Right, but what I will tell you is that I don't read the reviews, but I always go to that top spot that it's not the ad, it's just organically up there.
Now, the second leg of the marketing stool here is we want to have targeted Facebook and Instagram ads that only reach people that live within the geographical area. Okay. Now, somebody who listens to the show says, well, that could be used to spy on us. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. However, I'm just so you can run ads right now, and it's crazy. I have a client of mine who does basketball lessons, and we can run ads in Tulsa that only reach people that indicate they like basketball who live within 2 miles of the gym. I have a client I work with that Huck's Pizzas. They sell pizzas, right? So we only advertise to people that live within 2 miles of the pizzeria who like pizza. I mean, it's so specific. And you go, well, how do they know we like pizza? Based off the comments you make on social media, based off their profiles, based off the photos you post. Wow. Oh, snap. I mean, so that's wild. That's why people say, I was just talking to my husband the other day about a cruise, and all of a sudden, cruise ads started showing up in my Facebook. It was weird. Yeah, that's how that works. So again, we want to be top of the Google search results. Okay. Second is we want to have social media ads that are targeted to our ideal and likely buyers. Now, the third leg is we want to have signs and wonders.
Okay.
Signs and wonders. Now, people ask me all the time, Clay, why don't you put up bigger signage by the road for your office? I say, well, I don't want people to see the signs and wonder. Right? I mean, I kind of want people to think it's a camp, or it's a church, or it's I don't know what it is, but I'm not pulling in. So the first time you pulled in, what were you thinking when you pulled in, Anthony? First time you pulled in.
I was like, this is totally a church. What am I doing here?
James, what were you thinking first time you pulled in?
I thought I was in the wrong spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Meg, what were you thinking?
I called my mom and told her that if I didn't call back in a certain amount of time
Really?
to send the cops, because I was like, this can't be the place that I'm coming.
See, that's what I've intentionally done that. No, seriously, because I don't want it to be a thing where people just stop by all the time, because in certain people's minds, that's what they want to do, is just stop on by and is Clay here? So I don't want that to happen. So I try to have a little bit of fun with it, But again, if you have a business like our haircut chain, Elephant in the Room, we want to have signs that make people wonder. So we put up the signs that say your first haircut's $1. Anthony, why do we put up signs in front of our Elephant in the Room stores, our 4 stores, that say your first haircut is $1?
Because it catches people's attention, and they want to know, why is it $1, and how can I get this haircut $1?
James, when people see the signs, they start to
wonder.
Yes. Okay. So that's step number 1. Is establish this marketing stool. Now, again, we'll guide you through this. We're going to guide you through the entire process. Everybody listening to today's show, we have a whole team that helps you through this. It's a 45-page step-by-step document. But step 2 now, we want to make sure, once we're generating leads, we want to make sure that we succeed. What am I saying? Once you generate leads, you want to succeed. So on your website, it needs to be clear what you need to do on the site. So, as an example, if you are listening to today's show and you go to oxyfresh.com, oxifresh.com, longtime client, carpet cleaning, it's not confusing as to what to do, oxyfresh.com. By the way, we've helped them grow to 550 locations, oxifresh.com. It's not confusing what to do. If you go to makeyourdogepic.com, makeyourdogepic.com, the first lesson is how much, Anthony?
50 cents.
And it shouldn't be confusing. It's how much? 50 cents. I mean, wow. James, why do you want to have it the no-brainer, whatever the deal is? It doesn't have to be 50 cents. Doesn't have to be $1. Doesn't have to be free. But why does it need to be super obvious what it is?
So that you know that that's what you want to do. You don't have to think about it. You just know that that's the deal that I want to take advantage of right now, and I'm going to make this decision right now.
And most people are consuming the website quickly on a mobile device or while thinking about something else. And so you got to have a no-brainer. You got to have an optimized website. Moving on, other steps we'll guide you through. We got to gather video testimonials. And people say, well, what? VISM. Without a VISM, your vision. What? Without a VISM, your business vision will perish. Someone should think about that. Without a vision, okay, the Bible, Proverbs, obviously talks about where there's no vision, the people will perish. Yes. And I never want to paraphrase the Bible and use it for business, so let me read the full Bible verse here. It says, where there is no vision, okay, the people perish. This is in the Bible. I'm going to look it up real quick to give you the specific Bible citation here. So this is Proverbs, or Proverbs, a book in favor of action. Proverbs 29, think about that, a book in favor of action. Proverbs.
That's good.
Proverbs 29:18, it says, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. What it's saying is, people like to forget the part about the law.
Yes.
So it says, where there is no vision, like where people are not inspired to follow God's vision for their life. Not my vision, God's vision.
Yes.
People get that all jacked up. They're thinking, well, there's no vision, the people perish, so you need to, no. That reference is that the Bible, and God's telling you, if you don't have God's vision for your life in your mind, you will perish. But, it's like, however, hello, exclamation point, hello, hello. But he that keepeth the word, happy is he. He that keepeth the law. It's not a motivational quote for business, okay? It's a hey, follow God's law kind of thing. Hello.
Okay.
That's what that's all about. Now we talk about vism though. It makes it memorable, okay? Where there is no vism, the vision for your business will perish. Vism is V-I-S-M. Video reviews, images, search engine, and more content. And we'll be kind of vague. We'll be kind of more reviews. And I'll be kind of vague. I'm not gonna make this weird, but it is a spa. So video reviews. Meg, if you're going to a spa, why would you want to see videos of other people who happen to be females talking about their experience at the spa?
To know if it's a creepy spa or if it is the kind of spa I want to go to by myself.
And can you get just a little bit closer on the mic real quick? And I want to make sure that
Absolutely.
what you're saying, and you can adjust the mic if you need to, make it higher or whatever you want to do. But make sure it's not a creepy spa. And just to be clear, that's a concern that consumers have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I'm just telling you, that's a concern people have. So you want to get video reviews to make sure you're not going to the weird park in the back kind of spa. Okay. And then, so you got to get video testimonials. You've got to gather images. James, why would your mom or some woman you know, why would they want to see before and after photos of somebody who's been to said spa before going to the spa?
Well, they want to make sure that the service works and that the spa is also clean.
And wouldn't you want to see pictures of the doctors or the team or the staff, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So VIS, search engine content. You've got to write 500 words of content 24 days a month. 500 words of content, 24 days a month. 24 days a month, what? 6 days a week, you got to be putting content. Our team will do that for you, but you have to write the content. James, why do you think that Google, I'm not a big fan of Google, but let's just say I was, why does Google not rank a website that doesn't ever add content?
Well, I think they want to reward the businesses that are working hard to promote their business.
And wouldn't it be an indication that someone's out of business if they're not adding content?
It would.
So that's why you have to add. You can never stop. You know, years ago, we worked with a client for a long, long time. They sold the business. The new owner said, hey, no offense. We're not going to use your services moving forward. New ownership. We're going to do it ourselves. Thank you. You know, I don't know. Let's say 6 months later, new owner calls me. Is there any way we could hire you guys back? I said, sir, we'd love to. We only take on 160 clients. Right now, I don't have a spot. And he's like, well, we're not, people can't find us in Google anymore. And I'm going, well, because you haven't been getting video reviews, images, search engine content, or updating the site. This just in. Did you know that Google updates the websites, updates their algorithm, updates the system all the time? So if you go to the phone store today and you go get the new phone, what's the iPhone we're at right now? iPhone 407, iPhone 602. What number iPhone are we on now? iPhone 14, iPhone 207?
Like 16, I believe.
Something like that.
So this weekend I had to get an updated phone. So I go in and it's like they got the new phone. Well, your website has to be updated to be compliant with all the devices. So you have to update your website every month, and we do all that for you. But just to be clear, VISM. V stands for what, Anthony?
Video reviews.
I'm a good teacher. I stands for what, James?
Images.
Yes. S stands for
Search engine
Search
content.
engine.
search engine content. Yeah, and 500 words of content needs to be added 24 days per
Month.
Right, that's it. Okay, good. And then, so VISM, more Google reviews. You can never gather enough objective reviews from real customers. Anthony, every single week, I talk about, for my businesses that I own, that we need to gather objective Google reviews. Why?
Because it keeps it's a free marketing tool. It keeps you at the top of Google.
And if I didn't obsess on it, would we get them? No, because
we would not.
Meg, you help manage the call center. And guess what? This just in. The people who think to leave a review are usually pissed.
Absolutely.
Usually happy people aren't like, no, this is a great day. You know what I'm going to leave a review for a restaurant I was at last year. You know, people don't think that way. Today's an awesome day. I'm going to go leave a Google review. No. You know what happens is people get pissed. And they go, I swear my haircut, it wasn't exactly how I wanted it. I'm going to leave a review. Yeah. And they hold that. Have you seen this mindset?
Yo,
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I have employees that come up to me every day. They say, I love working here. Thank you so much. I think to myself, it'd be great if they could leave a Google review. Right? And then the guys who are upset, maybe they didn't get promoted, they didn't get the bonus, that's who leaves the review. I'm just telling you by default, that's how the human mind works, okay? So V-I-S-M. And then the final, there's a D, V-I-S-M-D. D is Dream 100. And that's where you want to make a list of your ideal and likely referral sources. So if it's a spa, maybe you want to go to the women's fitness businesses and see if they can refer you. Maybe you go to the women's boot camps. Will they refer you? The women's private personal training places. Will they refer you? The grocery store focused on organic eating mothers. Will they refer you? The PTA for the private schools. Will they refer you? You gotta. That's the flow. And James, we walk the clients through this path, week after week, day after day. So final 3 points I want to talk about, and then we'll kind of get into the testimonial part of today's show. Your desk is like 10 feet from mine, sometimes 4 feet from mine.
Yes.
Why is it that we meet our clients every week, and every week the clients leave with homework and we leave with homework?
It keeps the momentum building and it keeps the growth happening.
Why do I charge people $1,700 a month, $1,700 per month, and operate at a 20% margin? Why do I tell people that and don't apologize for it? $1,700 a month, $1,700 per month, and we operate at a 20% margin. Why do I charge people a flat fee?
Because that's how you're able to sustain your own business doing it.
Now, every other coaching service I've ever heard of, they charge per call, per email, per question. If you have to reschedule the meeting, there's a scheduling fee. Why would that be a disingenuous idea, Meg? If I'm gonna tell a client that every time they call me, it's an extra fee, why is that a disingenuous idea?
Because you could take advantage of that.
It would also discourage you from calling, would it not?
Yes,
Right.
it would.
If you're a client, I want you to call me all the time. That's why we have unlimited calls, right?
Sure.
And then why do we make it month to month? Anthony, why is my service, even though our average client is with us for over 6 years, you look at companies like Shaw Homes, we helped them grow from 14 million to 150 million over a period of like 7 years. Why is our average client with us over 6 years, but why do I make it month to month? Why do I, not for the client's benefit, but for my benefit, why do I make it $1,700 a month and month to month? Why do I make it month to month?
No, that's a great question.
For my benefit. Think about it. For me.
I got it.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, they just aren't really
Coachable.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay.
So let's talk about it, and then we'll wrap it up, okay? So guy goes to the gym. Guy says, I'm gonna start working out. So that's cool, man. So what are you wearing, Carl? Carl says, I got a compression sleeve. Carl, are you wearing tights under your shorts? Yeah. I've been watching LeBron. I think that's the move. I got tights under my shorts. I got my compression sleeve. Have you seen these people?
Yes.
I got it's like a bowling wrist protector thing they're wearing now. And you got a headband on. They got all the swag. And you see them at the gym, and they're not working out. They just go. And it's not about knowing where to go to the workout. And it's not about knowing what to do. It's just they don't want to do it. They just want to get dressed up and not do anything about it.
Right.
Okay.
So coaching, there's 3 aspects of coaching that are so important for everyone to grasp. The first is learning what to do. It is so important that you know what to do. It is so helpful to learn from mentors and not mistakes. It is unbelievably powerful to go to someone and say, hey, I've never written a book before. Could you teach me how? Well, because I've written 35 books, it's easy for me to go, yeah, here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Someone says, I've never grown a spa before. Could you help me? Yeah, I've done this all the time. I can do it in my sleep. That makes sense. So you want to know what to do. Otherwise, you learn from mistakes, trial and error, right? So you learn from a mentor. That's powerful. The second, though, is you need someone to hold you accountable. And unless you're a complete doofus, you want to be held accountable. So, you want to be held accountable to some level of account. I don't know. I just don't know people that live an honest, ethical life that have no level of accountability in their world. I'm serious. I mean, so that's why, if you're a man listening to today's show, I recommend that you don't office alone with a woman with a shut door. I think that's a smart move. If you're out there today and you're a married man, I recommend you don't travel in a car with someone you're not married to, is a female. That just makes sense. You might call it the Billy Graham rule. If you're a business owner, I recommend that your screen is set up in a way where people can always see what you're looking at. I recommend you have an open door policy. I recommend, I just try to keep it transparent, right? Because you want to have some accountability.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, people that have no accountability at all, that's where evil kind of grows right there. So you want to have some accountability. And then final thing is you need to have a team to help you. because the teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
So what if you learn all this stuff, but you're like, I don't have a web guy. I don't have a photographer. I don't have a videographer. I don't have a advertisement ad expert guy. I don't have anybody. I mean, if you don't have those tools, it can be overwhelming to do all this stuff. And so that's why our clients have tremendous success, and that's why it works each and every time. But again, if you're out there today and you're listening to today's show and you say, hey, I want to come join you. I want to come meet Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I want to meet Eric Trump. I want to come to your upcoming workshops. What you got to do is you go to thrivetimeshow.com. That's the website, thrivetimeshow.com. You can request tickets there. If you do request tickets, a man by the name of James, that's you.
Yes.
You're going to be giving him a call. And the way the pricing works is we charge you $250 or whatever you want to pay. And people say, what? How does that work? Well, I grew up poor. And even though I'm a very focused, intense person, oftentimes, I do have a soul. And I always think to myself, if I was listening to the show and I wanted to be able to go to a conference, what if I couldn't afford $250? Because there was a time in my life where I couldn't. So we let people name their price. James, will you briefly explain how that works before we wrap up here, sir?
Yeah, so everyone's in a different spot in their life. So if you can only afford $150, we'll get you that ticket for $150. If you're someone that's really can only afford $50, I'll get you that ticket for $50, and that'll make your day, that'll make my day, and it'll be a home run for you to come out to the conference and learn all the principles and methods that Clay's been teaching for 20 years with over 2,000 clients that he's scaled their businesses.
I'm telling you, folks, if you want a life-changing business conference, go to thrivetimeshow.com. We're going to teach you marketing, branding, sales, search engine optimization, accounting, finance, and with a side of Eric Trump, who runs the Trump Organization, with Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling entrepreneur author of my lifetime. And this guy's sold over 70 million copies of his books. I mean, it's unbelievable. So get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. And now, without any further ado, we'll transition into part 2 of today's show. But we always want to end each segment with a boom, because boom stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. That's what it stands for. Big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. So, James, are you psychologically prepared to end with a boom?
I'm ready.
Meg Roll, are you feeling the flow?
So ready.
Anthony, you ready?
Most definitely.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom!
My name is Dr. Scotty Ray Lawrence. I am the owner and director of the Spa at Health Source in Tulsa. I got involved in the spa industry because back in 2001, I started my first fitness and weight loss franchise, and I quickly discovered the struggles that men and women were facing when they were dealing with weight loss, dieting, exercise, and there was just not a lot of answers for them. And then I discovered a really great non-invasive procedure that would help with their cosmetic needs and to spot target areas that they can't get to by diet and exercise alone. And I brought that into my clinic, and it's been a game changer.
All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, if you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you're a mechanic, you're a home builder, you're a home remodeler, you're a carpet cleaner, you're a dog trainer, you're a dog trainer, you're a dog trainer, you're a business consultant, and you don't know how to do business consulting. If you're anybody on the planet and you want to increase your financial and time freedom, this is a show for you. We're interviewing today a client who's we've had the opportunity to work with this year, and I just am super excited to see the growth and the systemization occurring there. And again, if you want to verify that this person is not just a male model, we did not just bring him in because he's a beautiful man. No. This man actually owns his own business. It's called officialsynapse.com. That's the website, officialsynapse.com. You can verify he's a real person. And with that being said, Dr. Troy Spurl, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thank you, Clay.
Okay, here's the deep dive interrogation. How did
Yep.
you first hear about us? How did that happen?
Well, it was on another podcast. I actually was, I'm a big Kim Clement guy. And so I actually was watching a podcast and they talked about this Mr. Clark. And then that's how I found you. And I reached out, and the rest is history. It was a good fit. It was what I was looking for. So they called you a very influential man, and I can basically validate that you're very much a connector, and so it was a good prophecy. I'll say that.
It's so crazy. This is the first time anyone's ever heard about my business consulting through a prophecy. So Thank you, Kim Clement. Okay. So now, what we do and what Devin does to my right, she's a consultant, and her job is to help wonderful clients like you to implement a proven system and to help you grow. And so I think what a lot of people do is they'll go to thrivetimeshow.com. They'll look on the testimonials button. I know this because I talk to people every day that do it. And they go to thrivetimeshow.com. They click on the testimonials and they look at the growth of, a company like Tip Top Canine. And they go, wow, you guys helped them to double their income. You helped them grow from 1 location to 10 locations in a very small period of time. It almost seems unbelievable. They see something like Tim Redmond saying he went from like 2 clients to somewhere between 5 and 20 clients, from 5 and 20 clients up to where he's got hundreds of clients. And they go, it's just, I don't know if it's possible. They see Ginny here and her husband Mike with their cute baby having 8 times growth. They're seeing the Colaws having 3 times growth. They're seeing Papa Gallo's having 8x growth. So I want to get into the nitty gritty of what we're doing to help you grow your business. So first off, step 1, with every client, we have to know your goals. I'm not asking you to share your goals publicly, but could you maybe share why that's important for you and for every entrepreneur listening to know your goals?
Well, you have to have something to shoot for, and it allows you to get an actionable plan together, and then each week what you need to do. And I'll share a couple of my goals. I mean, my big thing was that I was working a lot in my business, not having any time to work on my business. And so that's been one of the biggest shifts. I'm not even a year. We're just barely a year in working with you. And I've gone from seeing patients personally 5 days a week to only 2 days a week. I'm actually here on my temporary second a place right now. I'm working remotely. I could never do that before. And so I'm working on my business more, which is very, very helpful when it comes to just improving, hitting some of the other financial goals. So it's not all financial goals for me. I did want to pay off some debt from equipment and other things like that. And we've hit a lot of those goals just in year 1. We're a little bit ahead of what I expected, actually.
So step 1, folks, I know it helps to see a linear workflow. Devin, are you a visual person, or do you prefer just to keep things in a kind of a written form in your mind somewhere?
Oh, I'm a visual person. I need it written down on a piece of paper for me to look at.
So the workflow to me is a lot of times, consultants like yourself who work here, or clients, they say, just seeing the workflow helps me a lot. So box 1, you got to establish your revenue goals. Homework for everybody out there. You have to know your yearly revenue goals. All right. Then you have to know what are your total weekly gross revenue goals. What are your goals for the week? If you have a goal for the year, what are your goals for the week? I'll give you an example, kind of a fun story. Longtime client of mine, he came to one of our workshops. He walks up to me, true story. He says, I figured it out. I said, you figured it out? This is on like session 2 of day 1 of our workshop. He says, I figured it out. I said, what'd you figure it out? He says, I'm going to do it. I said, what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to lose the weight. We're not at a weight loss conference. I go, what? Not kidding. Saw the guy about 3 years later he's been a client the whole time, but most of our clients are not in Tulsa. So I hadn't seen the guy in 3 years. He's down like 90 pounds. And I said, how'd you do it? He said, I figured out my yearly goal and I figured out my daily goal. So I made a to-do list of what I'm going to eat every day. And I just put it on there. And it was basically grilled chicken, broccoli for lunch. That's it every day. Grilled chicken, broccoli, lunch. And he said, I did that every single day since the conference, and I've lost almost 100 pounds. And I'm like, get out of here. So no matter what you're doing, you got to have those goals. The second thing you have to do in business is you have to know your break-even numbers. Now, Devin, you went to college.
Yes.
And, you studied a variety of things in college. When at college with the business classes, did they ever talk about the break-even point?
No.
Mind-boggling. And it's because typically a bureaucrat in a college, they don't have to break even. If they ever go over the budget, they just raise taxes or find some way to increase fees. And the students aren't actually paying for college. They're using loans that are provided by the federal government. So nobody's actually looking at a budget. But in a business, you have to know your break-even point. And again, Dr. Sperl, I'm not trying to ask you personal questions about your break-even numbers, but do you know in your mind how many patients, I guess it's rhetorical. Do you know
Yes.
how many patients you need to break even?
Absolutely. We have the numbers established, and it's not just myself. So now we have a full clinic. So I know how much each individual doctor needs to have, each practitioner, and then the clinic as a whole, how much they need to be seeing, and then just the minimal amount of services. So we track all of that, the exact services and number of services that have to happen as well. Now
we can move on to the next box, defining how many hours per week you're willing to work. Now, this is hilarious. Did you meet Austin yesterday?
I did.
Okay, so Austin was a guy who used to work in the same building as me. He and his wonderful wife and their 5 kids, they decided to basically move into the mountains and take a year to recalibrate and really figure out what God had in store for them. So they actually, as a family, which I think is incredible, they actually did it. A lot of people talk about it. They actually did it.
Yeah.
They moved to the mountains, really studied the Bible as a couple, really recalibrated. And he came back. He wants to come rejoin the team. And I have no problem with it. He left on good terms. And he and I share the same religious views. He and I both believe that the Bible is very clear. We should be resting on the 7th and working 6 days, rest on the 7th. You can find that in both Exodus and Genesis. God laid out that pattern, work 6 days, rest on the 7th. And he believes that the Sabbath is Saturday. So he never works on Saturday. And I remember that about him. But he mentioned, he goes, hey, I want to work 6 days a week. I don't want to work 4 or 5, but I want to work 6. But I do take off Saturday. I don't know if you remember that. And I said, I do remember that. So for him, he was very clear. I want to work 6 days, but I don't want to work on Saturday because that was his particular, how he views the Sabbath based upon his interpretation of the Bible. We'd love to get your thoughts on that. I think a lot of business owners say, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And then they're not.
Yeah.
But it's like, so we got one guy right now, one of my longtime clients and friends. He's at trade shows. He's doing, I think, 6 weekends in a row doing trade shows. And he also works 5 days a week, because he has a goal in his mind of how many customers he wants to get, and he wants to get those customers before April. So he's literally willing to work 7 days a week and go to these trade shows. But I think a lot of people say, I'll do whatever it takes. They're quoting Imagine Dragons, and then they're not. So I'd love to get your reaction to that.
No, that's that was like a mindset shift that had to occur too. And it is funny how mental that is. And a lot of times you get into business and you think you're doing it to retire. And when you kind of get rid of the word retire and you just kind of, you work and it's something you're passionate about, it actually doesn't even feel like work. And so, yeah, I'm on board with that. And one other thing, I started getting up earlier because I've gone to your 2 days. I haven't missed a 2 days since I've started with you. So I come down for all the 2 days because I hear something new each and every time, and a lot of it had to do with the schedule too. So getting up earlier, and I'm not quite as insane as you as far as how early you get up and what you do, but I'm pretty close. I'm getting there.
Well,
and so that was a big shift. It was a mental shift, and efficiencies started improving. Like just everything started to get better, and that's how I got freed up. Was by basically working more days and getting more organized, becoming more efficient. And then our capacity we're just primed to just explode right now. And our capacity is because of the extra work hours.
Have you listened to my interview with Rabbi Daniel Lapin? Have you heard that one?
I haven't.
Oh, bro, I'm going to put it on part 2 of today's show. This interview is sick. And the only part you won't like about it, folks, is what I say. But this guy, he's a rabbi, and how our conversation started was I had a lot of friends of mine who were wealthy Jewish people. And I kept asking my Jewish friends, I'm going, why are you guys so rich? What's going on? What's the move? I was 25 years old. And a friend of mine, he says, wealthy guy, he's in his 50s. He says to me, well, if we're in a foot race, we're running 15% more than you. I said, what do you mean? He said, we all work 6 days a week. And I said, oh, what? And he said, also the word work in Hebrew means worship. So worship means work and work means worship. So we don't work for the customers. We don't work for the profit. We work as though we worship. So like that is our form of worship. You might do praise and worship. We view work as worship. Also, the word vocation means calling, and the word vacation means to retreat from. So we actually view retirement as an abomination. I said, an abomination you do, huh? And he said, we view retirement as an abomination. Like in the same way you might view fornicating, we view retirement. We actually view the idea of retiring as a sin. And I'm going, get out of here. So it helped me a lot to understand that mindset of working as unto the Lord. Just powerful. I'll put it on part 2 of today's show. I promise, folks, it's going to blow your minds. So we go back here to this system here. Now, box number 4. Devin, you work with a lot of great clients. A lot of clients don't know their unique value proposition. And so we always tell people, you got to figure out your top 3 competitors. You got to mystery shop your top competitors. But at officialsynapse.com, Dr. Spurl, he already knows his unique value proposition and already knew that before he met us. How rare is that, Devin, that the client actually already knows? In his case, it's more of a holistic form of medicine. They treat the cause. They don't try to just push a pill for the ill. They don't try to get people on big pharma. They try to get people off big pharma. How rare is it for somebody to actually have their unique value proposition figured out?
It's very rare. It's probably like 1 in 10.
Yeah, and what I find is a lot of plumbers, doctors, dentists, lawyers, they'll say things like, well, we're the best. Like, okay, so you're the best tile guy. Okay. So that would imply the other guy's the worst, right? Like, well, absolutely. And that's the kind of the mindset. So we'll work with you on that, folks, if you feel stuck. The branding, again, you're a unique guy because you already had a lot of your branding nailed down before we met you. With most of our clients, like when we've worked with Tip Top Canine, we had to completely renovate everything. I mean, we had to do the logo, the auto wrap, the print pieces, the unique value proposition, the offer of the $1 first lesson, the polos, the one sheets. I mean, we had to renovate the entire system, which is incredible. When you think about another client like Redmond Growth, when I met with Tim, this is an interesting thing because you're in Minnesota, we couldn't do this, but for Tim, we gave him free office space. He officed in our building for free. He was a business consultant, but didn't have a unique value proposition. So we actually had to teach him how to consult, how to grow companies. We had to provide the unique value proposition. We made his logo. We made his website. We did all of his print pieces. I mean, we went through a massive laundry list. Very unique, though, that someone already has their branding nailed down. Devin, how unique is it that a client, because you work with a lot of clients, that the client already has the branding nailed down?
It's very unique, and it's great because when Troy and I first started, we were like, right from the go, like getting the systems, working on that. Yeah. So it was like 100 miles per hour, like from the first call. So it's great.
Now, the three-legged marketing stool, this is the 3 moves that you need to use to acquire customers. Now, for every client we work with, there's a different 3-legged marketing stool. As an example, we'll go back to Redmond Growth. Redmond Growth in America today, if you want to get depressed, folks, go to usdebtclock.org. It's a great way to get depressed. Go to usdebtclock.org. We have 9 million self-employed people in America, when there's 330 million Americans that we know of. So you have 3% of the American population is self-employed. 3% of the American population is self-employed. And according to Inc. magazine, 96% of businesses will fail in the first 10 years. So you have, again, 3% of the population is self-employed, but only 4% of that 3% actually build a successful company ever. So it's a very rare thing that people are successful by default. So when we worked with Tim Redmond, I had to help Tim. I said, Tim, we got to contact business owners and we need to cold call them. So I helped him get a list from a company called Data Axle and others. You pull a list of the contractors, doctors, dentists, lawyers. You got to call them. Then once you call them, I had to help Tim write a script of what to say. So the cold calling was 1/3 of the business. The next third of the business was he could invite his clients to one of my in-person workshops. So if I had people that came to my workshop and we were booked out, I could refer people to Tim. So we had the workshops going on. We had the calls. And then I helped Tim learn how to turn his speaking events. He speaks publicly into leads. And so that was his 3-legged marketing stool. For your business, you have a 3-legged marketing stool as well. We got to get Google reviews. We got to get Google reviews. We got to get those Google reviews from happy customers. Yeah. Second is we got to make sure you're getting on podcasts where people can hear your voice. Very important that we do that. And there's other things we do too. But third, it's the internal marketing, making sure that your customers and patients know about the services you offer. How can you talk about the mind freedom that gives you as a business owner, as a doctor, knowing that you have 3 primary marketing systems that you need to, 3 figurative spinning plates that you need to keep going and not 53?
This actually is what probably, other than the entirety of seeing the layout and knowing that you've figured it out. I just have to do the work. So this area with the marketing, this was a big deal for us because we kind of had all of our eggs in one basket, if you will. So if something happened with that basket, then we're stuck. Whereas now we have complete peace of mind because we have different funnels and different people are coming in from different areas. We're able to impact people from all over the country, and we have multiple different systems in place: the podcast, the internal marketing, and a lot of the we never got Google people from Google, and now we're getting consistently weekly people from Google. So a lot of what you talk about when it comes to the marketing stuff, that was actually foreign to me. So we were pretty set up with branding and other stuff like that, but that was Boy, I was learning on the fly there, and boy, has it ever impacted us, because our numbers are significantly changed just in less than a year when it comes to just where our patients are coming from and our clientele, and that's, for me, that's like one of the biggest. I'm just happy because there is peace of mind about and not worry about where are we going to get our next client or customer. We've got multiple funnels. It's great.
And I'm taking notes as you're talking, so I'm making sure I'm not misquoting you. But I think you just said, we never got leads from Google. Now we are getting a ton of leads from Google. I think that's encouraging for somebody out there who doesn't know how to generate leads if you're in the medical field or doctor, dentist, lawyer. And then I think you'd also said that we were barely with you a year. And how would you describe the transformation over that year?
So this, in 1 month, it'll be a year. So we're basically 11 months. And so the transformation has been, I have the clinic itself really depended on me. Like if I got sick and I went down, we'd probably lose 50% to 60% of our revenue. And that's not good, because that means the business was about me. Right now, if I went down, the practice would probably improve. And so because we've got a team of doctors, we've got systems in place, and so we've got a lot of processes, and they understand it now. We're working on scripts and all those things because we keep identifying areas that we can improve on. And so now they get it. They understand the process and the flow. They're just getting to the point of doing it. And even with that, just having a great team, but also having people waiting in the wings to step up because now they want to be a part of this team. So we've got just a great system.
I just want to be very clear. Again, I'm repeating this because I think somebody needs to hear this. You've barely been a client for a year, and you're saying we never got leads from Google. Now we're getting tons of leads from Google. The clinic used to depend on you, and now we have a team of doctors and systems in place. I just encourage everybody out there. Yeah. You can do it. Don't be stuck. Okay, now back to box 7. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one sheets, print emails, lead trackers. Box 8, we got to figure out your sustainable customer acquisition costs. We got to figure out what does it cost to get a new customer. 9, you got to create these core repeatable actionable processes. I call it crap. Core repeatable actionable processes. These repeatable actionable processes. I don't want to deal with all the detail crap. I'm more of a vision guy. No, you're a broke guy if you don't have systems in place. Well, I don't like to focus on the crap. I focus on the main idea. No. You got to master the crap, the core repeatable actionable processes. You got to chop wood, master the art of chopping wood, hauling water, get good at the basics. Box 10, managing people. People? I want my people to work remotely and manage themselves. No, people cannot work remotely and manage themselves. Even huge companies like X, which I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk, but you got X. I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk because he's the one who created the mRNA technology in CureVac, which is putting all the shots. Not a big fan of that. But even people like Elon Musk have found that when they lay off huge amounts of people that work from home, it doesn't impact the company at all because they didn't do anything. You're seeing Bank of America now is threatening employees with, you have to come to work. We're not going to work here anymore. Well, yeah, because the people that work from home do nothing. Why? Because people are wearing sweatpants till 2 p.m. Okay, 11, you got to create a sustainable and repetitive weekly schedule. 12, you got to create a human resources and recruitment system. 13, you got to nail down your accounting. You got to automate the earning of millions. You can't just make a lot. You got to keep a lot. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And Devin, you get a chance to work with Dr. Spurl every week. How would you describe what it's been like to work with this man?
He's great. He's always, answers every call, and the tracking sheet's always filled out. He does a great job, and I'm super glad that we work together.
So I got to ask you this here. Final thought here. For anybody out there, Dr. Spurl, if they go to thrivetimeshow.com, we say it all the time. I've been saying it for years. We always do a free 13-point assessment. We do a business workshop every 2 months. What would you say to anybody out there that is watching right now, who's thinking about becoming a client, who's pondering the idea? What say you, sir?
Just do it and be all in. If you're going to do it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to listen and apply the knowledge. And so it's all right there. And it's kind of like the Bible. I read the Bible as well. And when I read the Bible, I'll learn something new every time. There's always a gem. Every 2-day I've gone to, and I can't remember how many you've had since maybe 4 or 5, but every 2-day, there's something new I hear from you or from one of your clients about stuff that they struggled with. And then here's a solution. So it's just a good decision to get organized and improve just how your business is operating. But when you're walking with people who are like-minded and focused, and you just perform better. So many businesses I know are struggling, and people are struggling to get it right. I just encourage people to take the leap and then just be all in. Just be all in.
Now, right now, I have a documentation here. I believe that you are up 114% growth in leads. The lead flow is up 114%. Is that accurate, or is that hyperbole?
That is accurate and exciting.
That's incredible stuff. So my closing thoughts would be this. A, folks, to my right is Devin. If you decide to work with our consulting program, because I don't work with 7 clients, I work with 160 clients. The only way to do that without cloning myself, which I don't think is ethical, but Elon Musk is into that sort of technology. So back to Elon Musk. But no, seriously, if you want to work with our team, you'll be working with happy people like Devin, and her job is to guide you down the proven path. And then my job is to create that path. And so it all starts with a 13-point assessment, a brief assessment of where you are versus where you want to be, kind of a look in the mirror, kind of a checkup from the neck up, to look at your business, look at your plan, look where you're going, and to design a customized plan that will get you from where you are to where you want to be. Dr. Troy Spur, I'll give you the final word, sir.
Yeah, it's been just a pleasure working with Devin and you, Clay. And one of the reasons why, and Devin, I've never shared this with you, but I like working with you because if you help me duplicate my business, I know Clay's doing what he needed to do, right? So what's happening with you at Thrivetime is exactly what I wanted with my business, and it's happening. And so right out of the gates, Devin was just super helpful with making changes on the fly. I'd never been in a meeting where we actually did what we were talking about in the meeting, and it was done before the meeting was done.
Oh, I do that all the time. If anybody,
I know you do.
You got to come at some point to one of our Monday morning meetings and watch me do it, because I will stop the meeting. If someone's like, we need to fix this on the website, I'll say, let's stop and do it now. Or if someone's, hey, I didn't get a chance to upload my video testimonial, but I'll do it after the meeting. I'm like, no, let's just stop the meeting and do it now. So I usually start and stop my meetings about 4 to 5 times per meeting, and it gets it done.
I can't tell you how much of a game changer it is to work with people who do that, though, because it was instant results. And so it's just like, it's gratifying as a business owner, instead of, just doing a checkup, follow-up constantly, week in, week out with this long list. You've got people just doing it right on the spot there. It was awesome to work with.
You are the best. Thank you again, folks. That's officialsynapse.com. That's the website. If you're looking for a doctor in all 50 states that actually will treat the cause of the problem and not try to push a pill for every ill, check out officialsynapse.com. That's officialsynapse.com. Take care, sir. Have a great day.
Thanks. You guys too.
Bye-bye.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was, I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Hi, my name is Tim Johnson. I'm the owner of Tuscaloosa Ophthalmology, as well as Southern Eye Consultants, 2 ophthalmology practices in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I'm a client of Clay Clark. He asked me to answer a couple questions. The first question was, how did I hear about Clay Clark? I am a big fan of business podcasts, and his podcast popped up as a recommended listening. So I started listening to the podcast. I was a little suspicious or skeptical because I thought there was going to be like an upcharge or an upsell. But the idea of the month-to-month canceling really appealed to me. And I kept waiting for the shoe to drop and for the upsell or for the scam to come in, but it never did. It's very legitimate. Since working with Clay, I've gotten a much firmer grasp on how business works. Even in medicine, business is business. I've learned a lot about marketing, especially how Google reviews work and how important that is. And that's very important even in medicine. At least once a week, if not every day, I get a new patient because somebody Googled eye doctor in Tuscaloosa or ophthalmologist in Tuscaloosa. And you'd be amazed how many patients just look for an eye doctor that way. And so he's really changed our business. Our business has grown a lot, maybe 15 to 20% this year. And so we're really grateful for the things he's done for our business. And the last question was, when did I perfect the laugh? I would say that you can never perfect the laugh. You just keep working at it, and just keeps getting better and better each day. But you got to keep working at it.
I'd like for you, if you can, Jenny, here to give a word of encouragement for any of our listeners out there that are a little bit on the fence right now, and they're going, I have thought about scheduling a free consultation, but I don't know. I hear it's $1,700 a month, and can you maybe explain your thoughts, what you would say to anybody who's a friend of yours or family that asks you about the value about the business consulting?
Oh, well, I would say that the $1,700 a month is an excuse not to have someone to mentor you. It's kind of like being in a gym when you need a trainer. We're not always perfect, and business owning is not easy, and you need a mentor. I've never missed the $1,700 a month, even when I was only 6 months in when we started with you guys. I've never even considered it a loss. It was scary at first to make that, but that wasn't an excuse. I knew I needed someone to guide me through this, and you guys have guided us through this, through the entire thing, through employees, through income, through spending, through all of it. And we come through so many problems. There are a lot of problems that are established when you have a business. I mean, you become very overwhelmed very fast, and you need somebody that you can call who's successful, who's been there, that says, you're not crazy. This happens to all of us. Here's what you do about it. It's been the best decision that we've made.
Final question I have here for you, as far as having like a one-stop shop. Years ago, I hired a business consultant who was great. And he would say things like, and I'm not ripping him, I'm just telling you what would happen. He would say, Clay, you got to work on your business and not in it. I'm going, that's true. He goes, you got to delegate to elevate. That's true. Clay, your website is not optimized. And I'm going, this is great. Fresh perspective. I go, Bruce, could you help me optimize? No, I don't optimize. Could you help me work on it? No. Could you help me make a checklist? No. Do you help me with the print pieces that I need to make? No. Can you make a video? No. Do you help me with my online ads? No. Clay, and he was kind of he's an Northeastern American guy. And he used to say, Clay, baby, let me tell you what. I don't make print pieces. What am I, a print piece guy? I'm not a web guy. We know what I am. I'm a work on the business guy. You got to find a good web guy. So every meeting we would have would result in me having to find another vendor to pay another $8,000 to build the website, $4,000 to make the video, $5,000 to do. So every time he would give a recommendation, it would lead to another cost. Could you maybe explain the value of having a flat monthly fee?
Yeah, I don't have to ever worry about it. I know if I need the website updated, it's a text away. I know if I'm having trouble with an employee, it's a text away. I know if I need financial advice, it's a text away. And again, we meet every single week, and all our questions are answered, and we're held accountable to what we need to be held accountable for. So it really works for us.
Jenny and Mike, thank you guys for your time so much. I really do value your time. I appreciate you guys being here today. And on part 2 of today's show, we're going to tee up another success story because we want people to know it is possible, despite the financial jackassery plaguing our nation right now. It is possible to become successful, and you guys are a living example of it. Thank you guys for bringing your baby on the show. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Dr. Jay Schroeder from HealthWorks Chiropractic here in Franklin, just outside of Nashville. And Just wanted to record kind of my experience with Thrive over the last 16 months. I think it's been almost 18 months with these guys. They have really helped me turn my clinics around. I came to Thrive in February of 17. I can say 16 months later, I don't know where we would have been without these guys, but I know where we're at now. We've got systems in place that make the practices no longer reliant on me being there for them to be successful. That was a huge goal of mine when I first talked to them. We're working towards our financial goals. We'll be there probably within 6 months. And my stress level has gone down. I'll be going on vacation next week, not worrying a bit about what's happening with my 2 practices, because I know the systems that we put in place is going to make them run as if I was there. So I don't know what else to say, but thank you guys. I look forward to my weekly coaching calls, and it's always something that I get out of those that I can plug in or talk to an employee. And it's just the 2%. They talk about 2% all the time. You got to improve by 2%. You can't do it all at once. But that 2% over the last 16 to 18 months has made a huge difference for my life, my family, our practices, and again, just the stress level that we were at compared to now has been life-changing. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate all you do, and look forward to the next 16 to 18 months and beyond. Thanks. Hey, I just wanted to take a minute to talk about Thrive 15 and what they've done for me. My experience with them started with a weekend seminar. I was just kind of feeling stuck and just needed something to light my creative juices. And a friend of mine recommended I go check them out, and I did. And certainly nothing short of amazing, that weekend seminar as far as what it did for me. But based on that, I wanted to learn more about what they could do to help me. And there's no doubt, without their help, I don't know if I would have got where I want to go, and even to the point where I am now. If you are someone who's looking to start a business or expand your current business, I highly recommend you give these guys a look, as they will at least give you an idea of what it's going to take to get you from where you are now to where you want to go in the future. I'm a guy with big vision, and I just didn't quite know how to get from point A to point B, and they're certainly helping me get to that point down the road. If you look at this board behind you, this is all stuff that they've made me think about, if you will. So yeah, give them a look. I think it'll be well worth your time.
Well, the first time that I ever met you, Clay, was at that first conference in Tulsa, and that was an incredible conference. And I was so impressed with just the whole thing, just the professionalism, you as a person, your business, your work ethic, and really just who you are. And I was very impressed with all of that. And I thought, gosh, this might be someone that I would really consider working with. Like, maybe he could really help me. And that's really what got me interested, because I was so impressed with just the professionalism of all of it. And I learned a lot. I come about once a year to a business conference, and I'd like to come more, but every year I try to come with my marketing girl with me. And we always learn something. And I think next year I'm going to bring my husband because he really needs to come too.
Okay, Thrive Nation, on today's show, I wanted to share with you a story about a good person who's growing a good business by treating their customers the way they want to be treated. She's a longtime client. We're honored to serve her and help her grow her business. And I want you to hear a great success story. So that being said, Dr. Stephanie, welcome onto the Thrivetime show. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Clay.
Well, first off, I'm going to pull up your website. So tell all the listeners, what's the name of your website so we can verify that you are, in fact, a real orthodontist?
Okay, my website is smileshollywood.com.
Okay, smileshollywood.com.
Yes.
I'm going to pull this up real quick here. And as I pull this up, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your background, because you're doing really well. You're based in McKinney, Texas. When did you have that vision to become an orthodontist? Like, what age were you where you thought, you know what, I want to become an orthodontist?
Well, that had to have been when I was visiting my own orthodontist. Dr. Jim Bowley, who's retired now, but was an awesome, great orthodontist and one of the greats, really. But what's funny is that I actually wanted to be a medical doctor first. And I used to go into his office and he'd say, Stephanie, you don't want to be a medical doctor. You want to be an orthodontist. And I said, no, I don't, Dr. Bowley. Why are you saying that? And he started telling me all of the great things about dentistry and why it's so great, because you don't have to deal with people dying on you. You don't have to deal with sick people. You get to make people look amazing and beautiful by straightening their teeth, and you leave with happy patients. And he talked me into it, and I thought, that sounds like a great job. So that's really how I became an orthodontist.
And you're in McKinney, Texas, right? So how long have you been an orthodontist in McKinney, Texas?
So I've been an orthodontist for 26 years, practicing in McKinney.
Years. And when you went to medical school, what percentage of the time in medical school or dentistry school, dental school, did they spend teaching you how to market and or grow your own practice?
Absolutely zero.
Zero
marketing skills.
Okay. And so one of the great things I love about working with you is, we get to help you grow your business, but, you get to be more of who you are. I mean, you get to help more patients and help more people create great smiles. And then we get to do some of the nitty gritty stuff that, maybe isn't your highest and best use. And so I wanted to focus on some of the things we've been able to accomplish together over these few years here. First off, from a branding perspective, I really do feel like your website is first class. And from when I talk to Andrew, you're the coach who works with you, I'm always hearing that more and more patients are coming in from Google. Could you talk about that? How much of an impact does it have having maybe a rebranded or updated website and Google leads coming in?
It has had a huge difference, absolutely huge difference in our patient load coming in. And, before I really wasn't tracking really well. And that's one of the things I learned from Thrivetime Business was how to track patients coming in, how to really, how to see where they're coming from. And at the time, I really didn't know much about Google. And, being an orthodontist for 26 years, I didn't really know a lot I kind of went through a time where I went through shock. It was really what I call culture shock, because the old ways of marketing were not working anymore. And because I really didn't know about online marketing, I was still doing, phone book ads and magazine ads and all of these things. And so Thrivetime has really helped. I started out with 97 reviews. Now we have almost 600 reviews. And, it takes a long time to get those reviews, and you have to really work diligently. And, Andrew was amazing. My coach, he's fantastic. Really had to prod me sometimes because, sometimes I was like an old mule and just stuck my feet in and said, no, I don't want to do that. And he said, trust me, it works. And I just kept going, and he kept pushing. And I tell you what, it's really working. We're getting a lot of patients from Google, and it's fantastic.
Now, as far as gathering patients from the Google search results, there's a couple of things that have to happen. I mean, one, you've got to have the most content. There's 4 variables. One, you have to have the most original HTML content or text. Second, you have to have the most objective reviews from real customers. Third, your website has to be in constant mobile compliance, where we're updating the website to meet the current updated guidelines of the ever-evolving internet. And then we've got to make sure your website is canonically compliant, where it basically follows all Google's rules. How much has that helped your peace of mind, knowing that you have a team that's helping you update your website every month and that you don't have to do that?
It is a huge relief. An absolute huge relief, because I know that these things are being done. The SEO is being done properly. The backwriting under the website is being done properly and increasing, and we're relevant every single day. We're relevant because I know these things are happening. And before, I actually was trying to do some of these things on my own. And, I'm not the best writer. And then I realized, why am I doing this myself? Because honestly, I don't have the time. And so it's really a great relief to know that these things are being done and that they're working. And I saw when I first started with Thrivetime, I was probably 11 or 12. I was working with an SEO company at the time, and I was probably coming up 11 or 12, which is really the second page when somebody brings you up on the computer. But now I'm at 2, I'm at 3, I'm at 4, depending on the keyword. So I couldn't be more happy.
And, again, if we do a search for orthodontist in McKinney, Texas, we can find you right there in the top 3. Also, after you move past the 3-pack or the top 3 there, we can also find your site in the search results. And again, it's not a result of luck. It's not a result of some sort of woo-woo plan. It's specific, actionable processes. The next thing I want to talk about is just overall lead tracking and Dream 100 marketing. I think a lot of times people...
Okay.
Not you, but other people, entrepreneurs, none of our listeners, we might market based on feel. So if we feel like we're not getting enough leads, we might feel the need to go market. And if we feel like we're overwhelmed with leads, we might feel the need to not market. But one of the things that we try to teach to our wonderful clients like yourself is the importance of implementing a consistent and implementable plan, a consistent and practical plan. Could you talk about the importance of tracking your leads and then also just consistently doing those marketing systems like the Dream 100 that do produce fruit?
So the Dream 100 has really been a great addition. We were doing something similar to that, but really not with the concerted effort and doing it on a regular basis. We were kind of doing it a little more haphazardly, and I really have noticed a difference because when you are visiting dentist's office and you're developing a relationship with them and they are seeing you on a regular basis every week or every 2 weeks, the staff starts to remember you. And so, you never know, a patient may come in tomorrow and you just drop by their office with a goodie today, and then they are going to think of you whenever it's time to refer for an orthodontist. And that's really made a big change in our practice too. And we track every single one of those. So we know how many Dr. X sent over and we know how many Dr. Y sent over. So we know our top referrers and we know the ones that we need to kind of get to know better and help them send to us too.
There's somebody watching this right now who's a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, and they're going, I don't know if the Dream 100 works. What do you say to that person who's sitting down with you right now and they go, I just don't know if that works?
I say it definitely works. And you definitely do have to get out and meet the dentist yourself at least one time. Even if you just, some of the dentists I couldn't actually just go meet. To have lunch. They didn't have lunches. So I just actually went by the office myself. I took a little goodie with me, a muffin or something, and I'd go by maybe right before lunch and just introduce myself. And then when my gal would come by every week or every other week to deliver things to their office, they at least knew who I was. I had introduced myself, and we found that we started getting patients that way. So it definitely helps.
Now, next thing I want to talk about is hiring. And I don't know if you've ever felt like this. I'm sure you haven't. It's probably just me. But whenever you have a garden that you plant, I'll pull up a picture of a garden so we can all picture it in our minds. Whenever you plant a garden, there's probably some initial excitement. You go, you know what? I'm going to plant these tomatoes. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get after it. This is my year. I'm going to get the garden going. I'm excited. I'm going organic. Let's go. Well, what happens is over time, people stop pulling the weeds. They stop tending to the garden. And over time, the garden becomes like an overgrown monster garden. The garden starts to become something that looks like a mistake, something that looks like something where your neighbors say, are you going to mow that thing? And it gets bad. And the same thing is true with employees. If you have a team of people that work for you on your payroll and you're a business owner, it turns out that the average American today, for whatever reason, and I'm going to pull up some stats here so people don't think I'm crazy. The U.S. Chamber reports that 75% of employees steal from the workplace. What? That's the U.S. Chamber reporting that 75% of employees steal from the workplace. And you might say, really? Yeah. And 85% of employees lie on resumes, meaning that they just make up some statistic and they throw it on their resumes. And 85% of employees are lying on their resumes. I'm pulling this up here, folks. But there's a certain group of employees that they just lie on the resumes, called 85% of job applicants lie on the resumes. And 75% of employees steal from the workplace. So in your business, you have a great staff and you want to keep it that way. So you can't hire the thieves. You can't hire people that lie on their resumes. So that 85% of the population that lies on the resumes, they can't work for you. And that 75% of the population that steals from the workplace, they can't work for you either because you want to wow your customers. Can you talk about embracing the processes that we teach of the ongoing hiring processes and just always recruiting new people?
Absolutely. So we have taken on really the task of making sure that we have every single day and at any one time, there is going to be an ad out there for any position in our office. And, occasionally we'll have somebody come in and we'll have them, just do a little half a day or something. And what's really interesting is that even my employees, even when I'm not needing someone, my employees will be like, why are we having somebody come in, do a working interview? And everybody gets really nervous, but it actually also helps them get on their best behavior again. So, but it's like, if you always have someone waiting in the wings, then should you have someone that drops off, maybe their husband gets transferred and they're a wonderful employee, but it's just, now they have to move and now you've got someone that you can hire. Or if you have someone that's like what happened in my office where, it was a inventory day and doctors weren't there and she decided to go work out and hang out with her boyfriend for 5 hours and then forgot to clock out, so that's called stealing.
Yeah. And recently, and these are just real examples I'm sharing with people. I've had some of my really, really nice employees. 2 of them decided to have a baby and start a family. And so I'm not going to hold an employee hostage. I'm not mad that they decided to move on, but you get to a place where if you're not careful, folks, you're going to find yourself in a kind of a defensive posture where you're not going to be able to cover the appointments, the obligations, the customers that are reaching out to you. So if you're out there today, hiring has got to be a process and not an event. So again, just recapping: the branding, the marketing, the search engine optimization, the hiring, the tracking. I want to talk about retargeting ads. Retargeting ads, whenever somebody goes to your website, we've got to have ads that follow people around the internet. So that way people constantly see Smiles Hollywood, Smiles Hollywood, Smiles Hollywood.
Yes.
And that creates top of mind awareness. Can you talk about how important it is for you to know that you have a team of people thinking about those kind of things? So again, you don't have to.
Absolutely. And I think just being a Thrivetime customer really makes you feel like you're taken care of in so many different areas, because I didn't even know what those ads were when I first became a client. I didn't even know. I remember thinking, I wonder how you get to have an ad when you're going to your bank account and then all of a sudden this thing pops up, for some brand of sunglasses that you were just looking at. I thought, how do you get those ads? How do you even find out about them? And so these are the ads that you guys fixed this up with, and they're fantastic. And I do know that they do bring in patients.
Now, coaching is an ongoing process. Every week, Andrew meets with you. Every week, I know this might sound shocking for folks out there, but every single morning, our coaches have to meet with me at 6 a.m. And I ask them every morning, I say, how's your client doing? And I go over all 160 clients. It's a real thing. I go over 40 clients every single day. I go over the checklist of all 40 clients every day. And we do that you do every single morning. So every week we review the files of all 160 clients to make sure you guys are thriving, you're growing, you're not backsliding, everyone's doing well. Could you talk about the importance of having somebody who helps you track, but also kind of pushes you to be your best?
Well, that has been a lifesaver, because honestly, I kind of learned it on myself, because Andrew was good about pushing me, and he would say, okay, well, did you meet with your staff about this or that? And I said, oh yeah, I didn't quite do that. And so he was really good about reminding me that I needed to meet with my staff once a week or once a day, whatever it was, depending on the item. But I found, like, for instance, with my front desk girl, she was fantastic, but she was supposed to be following up on leads. She was supposed to have a lead list. And so every week I would call her and say, hey, how's that lead list? And I would actually have Andrew on the phone with me, and we would talk, and she kind of would say, oh yeah, they're good. And, and then finally, I think she got it. She realized I need a list. And so I think she realized Dr. Kreis is going to ask me every week, and I better get organized here. And so she actually came up with her own lead list in her own little system, which was fantastic, by the way, and has helped us tremendously at the front desk. And anytime we go over the lead list, because I have about 3 employees that have lead lists, different kinds of lead lists, and she is fantastic I never have to worry about her lead list. The other two, I have to check theirs. And that's the thing is I think you start to really hold your employees accountable, and Andrew helps hold me accountable and make sure that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, because let's face it, life gets busy, and I mean, I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I have all kinds of other things going on too. And so I want to have a thriving business, but you have to put the work into your business. And it's nice to have someone there prodding me along when I get lazy.
Now, you're one of these wonderful folks where, most of our clients, they actually come to the workshops. They also do coaching. And so you're somebody who's been to the conferences. You do the weekly coaching. You've seen the whole experience. I guess, some people describe our coaching system as life-changing, or they focus on the numbers. How would you describe how the one-on-one coaching in conjunction with the conference has impacted maybe you and or your business?
Well, the first time that I ever met you, Clay, was at that first conference in Tulsa. And that was an incredible conference. And I was so impressed with just the whole thing, just the professionalism, you as a person, your business, your work ethic, and really just who you are. And I was very impressed with all of that. And I thought, gosh, this might be someone that I would really consider working with. Like maybe he could really help me. And that's really what got me interested, because I was so impressed with just the professionalism of all of it. And I learned a lot. I come about once a year to a business conference, and I'd like to come more, but every year I try to come with my marketing girl with me. And we always learn something. And I think next year I'm going to bring my husband because he really needs to come too. And he's been going along with this with me, and he's thinking, wow, this is really working for you. Maybe I need to come. So we've loved it.
So if somebody's watching right now, they're on the website, they go to thrivetimeshow.com, they're thinking about scheduling a free consultation, or they're thinking about coming to a workshop. What do you say to somebody out there that's on the fence, thinking about coming to a conference and or scheduling a free 13-point assessment?
Well, I say absolutely do it. Absolutely do it. And I will say that it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but if you stay the course, you're going to see results, because I'm absolutely convinced.
Dr. Christ, thank you for allowing us to take up some of your valuable time today. I really do appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in person here soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Clay.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Okay, Aaron Antis, March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, guess who's coming to Tulsa, Jerusalem?
Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, that's March. March 6th and 7th, we're going to be joined by Robert Kiyosaki. Best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Probably the best-selling, or one of the best-selling business authors of all time. And he's going to be joined with Eric Trump. He'll be joined by Eric Trump. So we got Eric Trump and Robert Kiyosaki in the same place. Aaron, why should everybody show up to hear Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, you got billions of dollars of business experience between those two, not to mention many, many, many millions of books have been sold. Many, many millionaires have been made from the books that have been sold by Robert Kiyosaki. I happen to be one of them. I learned from the man. He was the inspiration. That book was the inspiration for me to get the entrepreneurial spirit, as many other people.
Now, since you won't brag on yourself, I will. You've sold billions of dollars of houses, am I correct?
That is true.
And the book that kickstarted it all for you,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that kickstarted your career.
Yeah.
He's going to be here.
I'm pumped.
And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States and soon to be the 47th president of these United States, he needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second. Would you buy a ticket just to see Robert Kiyosaki and Eric Trump? Of course you would.
Of course you would.
But we're also going to be joined by Sean Baker. This is the best-selling author, the guy who invented the carnivore diet.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Sean Baker. He's been on Joe Rogan multiple times. He's going to be joining us. So you've got Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Eric Trump, Sean Baker. The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here. With the most people we've ever had in this building was for the Jim Brewer presentation. Jim Brewer came here, the legendary comedian Jim Brewer came to Tulsa, and we had 419 people that were here. 419 people.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, there's no more room. I felt kind of bad that if a couple people had VIP seats in the men's restroom. No, I'm just kidding. But I thought, you know what, we should probably add on. So we're adding on what we call the upper deck, or the top shelf. So the seats are very close to the presenters, but we're actually building right now. We're adding on to the facility to make room to accommodate about another 30 attendees or more. So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody. Don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences. And so to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then, you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. organization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch and to make it entertaining when you're stretching. This is a true story. When you get up and stretch, you'll be greeted by mariachis.
Sure.
There's going to probably be alpaca here, llamas, helicopter rides, a coffee bar, a snow cone. There's just...
You had a crocodile one time. That was pretty interesting.
You know, I should write that down and actually do that.
Sorry for that one guy that we lost.
The crocodile, we duct taped its face so that we duct taped.
No, it was a baby crocodile.
And it was duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape around the mouth so it didn't bite anybody. But it was really cool passing that thing around and petting
I should do that. We have a small petting zoo that will be assembled. It's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business. But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. And then you add to that Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You add to that Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump Organization. You add to that Sean Baker. Now you might say, but Clay, is there more? I need more. Well, okay, Tom Wheelwright is the wealth strategist for Robert Kiyosaki. So people say, Robert Kiyosaki, who's his financial wealth advisor? Who's the guy who manages, who's his wealth strategist? His wealth strategist, Tom Wheelwright, will be here. And you say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch. It's Ted Escondido's, an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. And Jill Donovan, our good friend, who is the founder of Rustic Cuff. She started that company in her home, and now she sells millions of dollars of apparel and products. That's rusticcuff.com. And someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay. I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we've got one guy who's given me a verbal to be here. And this is a guy who's one of the wealthiest people in Oklahoma, and nobody really knows who he is because he's built systems that are very utilitarian, that offer a lot of value. He's made a lot of money in it's where you rent. It's short term. It's where you're renting storage spaces. He's a storage space guy. He owns the what do you call that? The rental,
storage space.
Storage units. This guy owns storage units. He owns railroad cars. He owns a lot of assets that make money on a daily basis, but they're not like customer facing. Most people don't know who owns the mini storage facility, or most people don't know who owns the warehouse that's passively making money. Most people don't know who owns the railroad cars, but this guy, he's given me a verbal that he will be here, and we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the day here is March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, we just got confirmation. Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he'll be here. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible, and there's somebody out there right now, you're watching, and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Now, don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right, really. So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I promise you, it will be a life-changing experience. We can't wait to see you right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.